What's up, everybody? GeauxBurns doing something a little different today. A top 10 video. Yes, I know, completely original GeauxBurns. No one's ever done a top 10 video before. Yeah, I get it. In fact, I used to do a top 10 series quite some time ago on the channel. I kind of retired it because it felt like more of the same. But I was cruising around New Bordeaux, and something kept popping into my mind. Something that's been brought up in a few comment sections and a few Mafia 3 videos, including most recently. Yeah, we have several vehicles in the game that we cannot own, that we cannot customize to have and drive around. I mean, we can drive them around, but we can't keep them. So with that being said, I decided to go to Mafia Wiki, which is a pretty cool website. They have a lot of information regarding the Mafia verse, you know, Mafia Lost Heaven, Mafia 2, Mafia 3, characters, vehicles, etc. So credit to Mafia Wiki for the vehicles we're going to go over today. By the way, if you want to check out the list of vehicles in Mafia 3 according to Mafia Wiki, and you want to select a couple, or maybe a top 5 or top 10 of your own rides you'd like to see added to Lincoln Clay's fleet, feel free and do so below in the comment section. But before we get started, let's go ahead and go over the vehicles that are currently part of Lincoln Clay's fleet. All right, so these vehicles are part of Lincoln Clay's fleet. They unlock throughout the game and, of course, through other various means. You have the Bulworth Mohican, which I guess you could say is Lincoln's trusted SUV. And then, of course, the Armored Majesty. I guess it's kind of like a limo of sorts. Then the Berkeley Executive. These three vehicles are in the street class, and they are, once again, part of the vehicles that are in Lincoln's fleet. Next, of course, is the most popular, perhaps, the sports class, a.k.a. the muscle class. This is his flagship vehicle, the Sampson Drifter. This is the car that you see in most of the imagery, the artwork for the game, and it's the car that I usually like to drive around in the most with Lincoln Clay. So there's the Drifter. Then, of course, the Berkeley Stallion. Now, the Berkeley Stallion, along with the Leopard and one other car, were part of the Family Kickback pre-order bonus. And sometime after the game came out, they made it to where these vehicles, along with the three weapons that came with the kickback, could be purchasable via a DLC for like $5. So for $5, for anyone that didn't pre-order Mafia 3, you can get the Berkeley Stallion, the Leopard, and of course another car we'll go over in just a moment, along with three weapons. So two other vehicles in Lincoln Clay's fleet. And here's one of the newest vehicles, the Berkeley Freerider, which obviously I've yet to max out. And for the record, I don't know why a van is in the sports class category. I mean, this sounds like a Rockstar thing right there. I mean, they usually screw up their vehicle classes too in Grand Theft Auto Online. But anyways, you get the Berkeley Freerider, the microbus, whenever you max Herbalism, which is one of the side quests in the first expansion of Mafia 3, Faster Baby. And to be honest, I think this should be over in the street class. But, you know, that wasn't my call. So anyways, moving over to the next class of Lincoln Clay's fleet, the Travatia. Yeah, this DeLeo. Yeah, this is one of the sports car. I mean, one of the exotic cars that you can get in the game, and I think up to a point it was one of the fastest exotic cars. And here's the Sampson Duke, another popular exotic car you can eventually unlock as Lincoln Clay throughout the story of Mafia 3. And then the Smith Moray MX100. This is the third car that's part of the Family Kickback DLC, formerly known as the pre-order bonus. But you could get the Moray along with the Leopard, the Stallion, and three weapons for $5 US if you want the three cars and the three weapons. And like I mentioned, you didn't pre-order the game. All right, so here is the car that came a couple months ago whenever they added a free update for the races and customization. Once you got the gold in all the races, you would unlock the Griffin Marauder, which I accomplished in my Mafia 3 Racing Badly series. And this is probably the best exotic car in the game now. Well, maybe it still is, because we do have a brand new exotic car The Lassiter Nightcrawler, which is one of the newest vehicles. It came along with the Free Rider to the Mafia 3 Faster Baby expansion. And this car unlocks after you complete the main story in Faster Baby. And this is probably one of my favorite new cars right now. And it's kind of interesting that they have this in the exotic class. I think it would fit better in the sports class. Just like the Free Rider would fit better over in either a utility or the street class. But like I said, I didn't make the call on that. But yeah, this is probably one of my new favorite rides in the game, the Nightcrawler. And then, of course, the final class is the utility class, which currently only has one vehicle, the Pinkerton Titan. And yeah, so these are all the vehicles that are part of Lincoln Clay's fleet. In other words, these vehicles are already available for you to eventually unlock in the game and customize. So that's why I wanted to go ahead and go through this list first before we went into the top 10. And once again, let me know below in the comment section, what vehicles driving around New Bordeaux would you like to see added to Lincoln Clay's fleet? Perhaps in one of the future 2 expansions coming to Mafia 3 this summer. So with that out of the way, let us get into my top 10. First off, we're going with this ride, the Berkeley Altamonte. I believe I pronounced that correctly. I love this car because it definitely has a 1950s vibe to her. And, you know, when you think of 1950s and Mafia, you're thinking of Mafia 2. And there's a lot of really cool looking 1940s, 1950s cars in Mafia 2. And some of them I think have made it over to Mafia 3 in some form or fashion. But yeah, I think that this would be a really cool car to have part of Lincoln Clay's fleet in Mafia 3. It has like I said, a 50s vibe to it. It's a 2-door, and it just looks really cool. Still does today. I mean, it's obviously a classic, just like all these rides are. And one thing I went by with this list is vehicles that I could see Lincoln Clay in. Something I could see him cruising around the streets of Delray Hollow in, or downtown, or the French Ward, for example. So there you go. That's the Berkeley Altamonte. I think I pronounced that correctly. But anyways, if one of the vehicles, or a couple of vehicles, or all the vehicles in my top 10 are vehicles you'd also like to see added to Lincoln Clay's fleet, you can also include that below in the comment section as well. Next, we go to another car. Well, it's not a car. It's an SUV. And I did not want to make this list all about muscle cars or sports cars or exotic cars. I wanted to mix and match it a little bit along with different eras like vehicles from the 50s, the 60s, perhaps even some vehicles based on real life versions from the 70s, part of my list. And this is not exactly a sports car, a muscle car, an exotic, but it is a really cool SUV, the Bulworth Aspen. And as we pointed out a moment ago, there's only currently one SUV that Lincoln Clay can use that unlocks. So it'd be kind of cool if we had at least 1 or 2 more SUVs. And this would be perfect to take around the bayou or perhaps even the back roads down in Sinclair Parish. I could definitely see, you know, calling this up just for a little joyriding down in Sinclair Parish in the Bulworth Aspen. Next, we move on to another brand, the DeLeos. And there are several DeLeos. So the DeLeos make a big chunk of my list. First off, the DeLeo Angelino. And this definitely has, I would say, a 60s, 70s vibe to it. It's a 4-door. And that's another cool thing. I really wish that we could actually, instead of simply just calling up some hit squad from Vito, I wish we could just have guys go around with us, a posse. You could put like 2 or 3 people in the vehicle with you, and you can just cruise around Delray, cruise around downtown, cruise around Sinclair Parish, and if any trouble happens, they pop out of the car with you, and they're right there, side by side of you, gunning down your foes left and right. That would be another cool feature I would like to have had in Mafia 3, but alas, we don't. We do, like I said, we have the hit squads, which they come in their own vehicle, they show up, and they die. But it would still be cool if we had NPCs that you could actually take with you wherever you wanted to during like free roaming it or side quests or missions. But like I was saying, I would like to see it part of Lincoln Clay's fleet. Next is the DeLeo 58. Now this is a sexy looking car that I would definitely like to have. I'd love to get in this car. In fact, you can, but you can't keep it, which sucks. And I love driving around the place, you know, taking up on the bridges, the highways, just cruising around, having fun in this little car. So yeah, another vehicle I definitely would love to have, the DeLeo 58. Then, yes, this car, the DeLeo Capulet, or however you pronounce that. Another sports exotic car, you know, obviously from a time when you saw a car like this on the streets, you knew that person had money. You knew that person had style and class and tastes. And the truth is, you know, these cars still have that same tone to it. Even if you saw one of these cars in the modern day, you still say, hey, that guy has good taste in cars. Or that gal has good taste in cars. This is one of those prime examples. Next, we go to the DeLeo Kashmir. And this definitely has a 50s sports car vibe to it. Once again, reminding me of Mafia 2. And there were several like Mafia 2 sports cars that I absolutely loved driving around as Vito. And the difference is obviously in Mafia 2, I think you could keep up to 10 vehicles or a certain number of vehicles in your garage, but it could be any vehicle you wanted in the game. You could take it, you could customize it, put a paint job on it, different tires, upgrade it, and you could put it in your garage. The big difference is maybe, just maybe, Hangar 13 could be watching this video right now, and they could simply add some of these vehicles to the fleet in maybe one of the 2 upcoming expansions. That would be nice. So yeah, this definitely reminds me of some of those awesome sports cars from Mafia 2. The DeLeo Kashmir. And the final DeLeo we'll go over in my top 10 list. I still got a few more vehicles left, but the final DeLeo brand is the DeLeo Stiletto. Definitely another awesome sports exotic car that I would very much love to have in my fleet, to drive around, to customize at big rigs. And this car, just like several others, it just screams good time. This is something that's meant to be taken out on the highway and just, you know, do pedal to the metal on her. Now, this next vehicle really boggles my mind why it's not already part of Lincoln Clay's fleet, because it would make total sense. The Sampson Lakota, a.k.a. the Jeep, which saw military service in World War II, Korea, Vietnam, and a few other, you know, engagements in between. And the reason why you would obviously see this in Lincoln Clay's fleet, as it should be, is because chances are when Lincoln Clay was serving in Vietnam for 4 years, he probably drove a few of these around Vietnam, along with Donovan. So there's a good idea right there, Hangar 13. If there is a vehicle you should add, it should be this one to the fleet. It's not my number 1 vehicle. We'll get to that in a moment. But maybe, just maybe, we'll see this added to Lincoln Clay's fleet for Stones Unturned, which would be perfect, because that involves Donovan, Lincoln Clay, as they go after another Vietnam War vet that's on the loose throughout New Bordeaux. So yeah, hopefully they'll eventually add the Lakota to our fleet, along with all these other vehicles and any vehicles you come up below in the comments section. Now, the second to last vehicle that we're going to go over in my top 10 list is the Potomac Ascent. And this will definitely be one of the cars I would very much like to have part of my fleet. It's just such a cool looking car. I love its look. I love its design. And once again, like I said, it's a car that Lincoln Clay could easily be spotted in. You know, if you're walking down the street and you see Lincoln Clay driving down the road, I could see him in this. Absolutely. And my favorite car, my absolute favorite car, that if there was one car that they would add to Lincoln's fleet based on this list, I personally would like it to be the Sampson Opus. I love this sports car. I absolutely lust for this thing. This is my bae of my top 10 list here. Every time I see this car, I just want to jump in her. I want to drive her around just for hours and hours, you know, going all over the place from South Downs to Frisco Fields, even maybe down to the Bayou for a little bit of fun in the backwoods, maybe even over to Sinclair Parish now. And it's always bittersweet because eventually I know my joy, my fun in this car is going to come to an end, whether it's, you know, accidentally ending up in the water, almost eaten by alligators, or, you know, I hit too many vehicles or too many bridges with it and it dies on me. But ultimately, you know, you can't have this car in your collection. And I really wish we could. I would love to have the Opus. I would love to be able to take it over into Big Rick's and customize it and then, you know, call up whenever I want. the Opus, along with all the other vehicles I just included in my top 10. Now, hypothetically, some of the ways I could foresee Hangar 13 maybe adding more vehicles is obviously, in addition with the expansions coming up this summer, Stones Unturned, and of course Signs of the Times, or maybe even a few more free updates. Maybe, maybe not, but the way they could implement it, pretty simple. They could just add it as like an additional bonus to completing this mission or that mission, or taking out this racket or this district, or since we do eventually make a lot of money in the game with the kickbacks, along with money from side quests, such as the brand new one, Herbalism, in which if you max out, you get the free rider. Okay, whatever. But in the races, in the races too, you can make money. So eventually you can make a lot of money in Mafia 3, and it would be nice to have something else to spend money on. Whether it's, some of these vehicles like the Opus or the 58 or the Angelino or the Aspen, the Kashmir, the Stiletto, the Independent, the Ascent. It would just be really cool if they added these additional vehicles to the game where you could add them to your fleet, where you could unlock them through various means, either purchasing them or completing additional side quests, or just adding them to missions already in the game and say, in addition to completing this mission or taking down this racket or this district, you also get this additional car. Here you go. Compliments from Hangar 13. So anyways, let me know below in the comment section your list of vehicles. Like I said, if you can only come up with one vehicle you'd really like added, let me know below in the comment section. If you got 3 or a top 5 or even a top 10, feel free and let us know as well. And once again, if you want to go over the list yourself, feel free and click on the link below in the description section over at Mafia Wiki. So credit to them for putting together their website. And it's not just for Mafia 3 content. There's also Mafia Lost Heaven, Mafia 2 as well. So you can find a lot of information about all 3 games, whether it's the story, characters, weapons, vehicles, etc. So be sure and check out Mafia Wiki. And without the site, I probably would have taken a lot longer to have been able to compile this list. So yeah, shout out to Mafia Wiki for having the tools already put together for me to go and quickly do the research and show you what the vehicles look like in this video. So anyways, that's my top 10. And once again, let me know the vehicles you'd like to see eventually added to Lincoln Clay's fleet below in the comments section.